Hey guys, Eric here from the Thebbqhq with our new product, and it is the Masterbuilt adapter cable for the Fireboard. Many of you have the Masterbuilt. It's a great grill, but are looking for a little bit better of an interface. And if you've got a Fireboard, we've got the setup for you. Okay, so here's what you need to get started. First, you need the Fireboard. Of course, you need the Masterbuilt grill. This works on either the 560 or the 1050. You need the Fireboard drive cable. Then you need the Thebbqhq Masterbuilt Fireboard adapter cable. And then last, you need the Fireboard pit probe to monitor the temperature inside of the grill. So the Fireboard will power the fan on its own without being plugged into external power. It will only provide 3.5 watts of power though, which is actually enough to move this up to about 400 degrees. If you're going to need more temperature, we recommend hooking a 12-volt source up to the drive. And fortunately, the Masterbuilt standard power cable plugs into this perfectly, so you can use that. But in this case, we've been smoking at 225, so you can run it for quite a bit of time just off the battery off of the Fireboard. Okay, so first thing you need to do is locate the fan wire underneath the grill. If you reach underneath, you have 3 wires. You have 2 that have a braided, kind of a rough coating, and then you have 1 that is smooth. This is going to be your fan connector. This is what we want. So the wires are zip tied up, and we've actually removed this one from the zip tie to make it easier to get to. All you got to do is simply unplug it and then plug our connector straight in. And then this part goes to the Fireboard drive, as simple as that. Okay, then we're going to connect the cable into the fan side of the Fireboard drive. And then we're going to connect the drive cable into the Fireboard. I highly recommend making all the connections before you power up the Fireboard. I prefer to run the ambient temperature probe in the first port of the Fireboard. And you can see we are using the magnetic case for the Fireboard. It sets perfectly on this angled shelf. It's a great way to see it, and it's great access to all the probes. So once I've connected this into the first port here, I'm going to go ahead and run it into the grill. And I was lazy and forgot to bring the clips down from my house to the shop, so I'm just going to take this and hang it from there. I wouldn't worry too much about the placement of the pit probe. You can move it around where you want. Middle of the grill is good, but honestly, it's going to do a fine job regardless of where it's at. All right, and once everything's connected, I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Fireboard and let it cycle on. Typically, I don't activate the drive mode until I get the fire started with the fire starter. So the way we do that is we open the chimney, or the top of the hopper, we open the side door, and then we light it. Give it a few minutes, and then we close everything up, then get this fired up to go to temperature. Okay, so our 2 power options, actually 3 power options. So you have the battery pack, the built-in battery pack on the Fireboard itself, and that's good for a few hours of runtime. Again, you get 3.5 watts out of it. The other thing you can do is hook up an external USB, and you can see we got our big pack here, but same thing, you can use a smaller USB pack and plug that in there and power it that way, and you have a longer runtime with that for sure. But again, that fan is only limited to 3.5 watts, which we find below about 500 degrees, you're going to be okay with that 3.5. And then lastly, if you want the full 18 watts of power, you can unplug the power from the grill and use the same connector, plug it in on the 12-volt side here, and it will go ahead and power that for as long as you want. Okay, so once you are in the Fireboard app, you can see it recognizes that the drive cable is connected. I'm going to click on the upper left and go to set point. I'm going to change it to 225. Now the only probe I have running right now is just the one, it's the pit probe, and it will, you got to make sure that it's lining up with that control. So if you have multiple probes in there, you got to make sure that you have it selected to the right one. Now, if I go over here and change the settings, I usually run about an 80% max fan speed unless I'm going to go to 700 degrees. So these are the settings that I like. Lid detection I leave on. Duration I do for 1 minute. PID version 3.0, fan mode is normal, and again, I usually leave it at 80. If you're going to go to 700 degrees, definitely change that to 100%. But the Fireboard does pretty well at managing that. So We've been running this grill for a little bit, so it is already up to temperature. We put the fan in, and you can see it's trying to run to 80%, and it's going to start working its way up to 225 degrees at our set point. All right, so there you have it. Your Fireboard is now controlling your Masterbuilt grill. That cable is available at thebbqhq.com. And it's a great way if you want to add the best Wi-Fi product in the barbecue industry, in my opinion, which is the Fireboard, to your Masterbuilt grill without having to clip any wires. It's just a matter of swapping out connectors. You can use your stock controller if you want. It's a great feature, a great option, and again, it's available at thebbqhq.com.